And we will move on to our Seattle Mariners now.
Remember, we talked a lot about mixed bags last week.
Was another.
Same sort of thing with the series here for the Mariners. I mean, very little roster moves, so the team kind of stayed pretty consistent in terms of the actual players in the games. But we look at the end of this, the latter 2/3 of this sort of California divisional road trip. And, the first series we look here against the Anaheim Angels, you see the nice broom little graphic there. So there's obviously a sweep to be involved. And then the next series was not as fortunate. So we'll get into it, though. So August 15th begins a 3-game stretch, as you can see, against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. The first game was a 6-2 win. Player of the game designated hitter Jesse Winker. Winker with 2 hits, 2 runs, and 2 RBIs on the day. On the 16th, to take the series, Seattle would win that one 8-2. Player of the game, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Julio picking up where he left off. 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 RBIs. On the 17th, to close out the series in a matinee game, the Mariners would win that one 11-7. So this one was on YouTube. It was a whole thing. There was a influencer broadcast where Bill Nye was there, Joel McHale, Kenny. It was weird. It was kind of weird. I didn't watch it. It was on strictly YouTube, though, but the Mariners pretty consistently throughout the game dominated this one. Anaheim was able to pick up some runs at the end of the game. Shohei Ohtani hit a home run at the end of the game, but this was the scoreboard kind of reflects it differently than it was. Player of the game, catcher Cal Raleigh. Raleigh, with this player of the game, was actually named the YouTube player of the game and got a little trophy for it. It was kind of funny. Raleigh had 2 hits, 2 runs, and 3 RBIs. He had a 2-homer day. It was the first multi-homer game of his career. The Mariners now go to 17-2. I believe is the team's record when Raleigh hits a home run. So that's pretty good. But as you can see, though, a sweep. Pretty good. And took care of a team that, is floundering. They've got an interim manager. Shohei Ohtani doesn't really play well against the Mariners outside of these last 2 games. Mike Trout got activated after this series, so he wasn't playing against us. This is an Angels team that you should be beating overall. Right. You can give up a game, sure, but you got to win a series. The same can be said for Oakland, who shipped off Frankie Montes at the trade deadline. They've got a bunch of guys that just really are older veterans or guys. This is a bad ball club. Straight to it. It's a bad ball club. And you lose the series to them. You win the first game 10-2, so the offense continues to click following that game against the Angels, despite the day off, pardon me. So August 19th at the Athletics, the first of 3 games was a 10-2 win. You come out, smash them. Player of the game, third baseman Eugenio Suarez, 2 hits, 2 runs, 5 RBIs for Gino. Gino feeling the good vibes with 2 homers on the day. Think, okay, you come out, you dominate Oakland. Great. The next day, Logan Gilbert's on the mound looking to bounce back after having a couple difficult outings against some solid teams. The Mariners lose this game 4-3 in 10 innings. Just unable to get enough out. 3 runs after getting more than 10 in the last 2 games, kind of a drop-off. Suarez, again, the player of the game, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 RBI, and a walk. So before I continue to game 3 of the series, that game 2, there's a reason I want to talk about this game. So we're in the bottom of the 10th inning. The bases were loaded, unfortunately. Diego Castillo, normally pretty good in his reliever role this year, had a bad game in this one. The Mariners brought in Sam Haggerty from the outfield to be a 5th infielder. So they had 5 infielders. I believe effectively the idea was to, Oakland was going to hit something in the infield, and they Seattle wanted to get the runner out at home on a force out. It happened. Sheldon Noisy hit a little ball in the infield, was going to go right to Haggerty, actually. But Diego Castillo attempted to field the ball, botched it, and I think Tony Kemp was able to cross the plate relatively easily. So it's like, that's not your job.
Right.
You've got 5 infielders. You've got to
stick to the play.
And I believe Haggerty would have had him out at home. So really bad way to lose that one. Poor offense. And then that poor play at the end of the game. Not how you should be playing. But you think, right, we talk about this all the time with series. We talk about it throughout the season. Just win the series. So come back the next game and win it. Not the case. Again, only the 3 runs. The offense, leaves 9 men on base in this game, 8 on base in that last game we were just talking about. Luis Castillo did not look like the pitcher we've seen the last few outings. Did not have his control in this one, which, the grand scheme of things is fine. It's a lot of games. but Seattle loses on the 21st, 5-3 to lose the series. Julio takes our player of the game here with 3 hits and an RBI. Another 3-hit game for Julio, which continues to ramp it up. But again, it's frustrating. I know in the grand scheme of things, you've got about 40 games left. But I think you do have exactly 40 games left. But you've got to be better. This is just, you can't lose series to Oakland. You can afford to lose a game here and there, but you're going to play the majority of the rest of your season against divisional opponents. Not Houston, but Texas, Anaheim, and Oakland. You have to be able to beat them in series. You cannot afford to keep messing this up, because at the end of the day, you would like to have the number 1 wild card spot and host those 3 wild card games at home, nonetheless. So, it's you do control your own destiny at this point, and last year's Mariners did. We are at the point, I think, through 122 games or so. Last year's team was the same record as this year's team right now.
Oh, goodness.
But the difference in that is we had like a negative 40 run differential. This year we have a plus 33.
Okay.
And you're in a better wild card. You're better playoff seeding. That being said, I try to get away from that. The other teams that you're vying for wild card spot against are all playing each other a ton. And that should help you take that number 1 spot and just ascend and keep it. And, hopefully the other 2 wildcard spots have to sort themselves out. The 1 is settled. It's not happening right now. You have to get into that. I mean, I think they're all tied right now, all the wildcard spots. So you're all tied. You have to go on a little run here, which I'm sure you can do. At the last 17 series, you've only lost 4 of them, which is pretty good. But it's concerning seeing the offense the last 2 days, the way that it's underperformed, knowing that, if this is how you're performing against these poor teams, playing with the easiest schedule in baseball, and you're not doing so got to be more consistent. So with Julio picking up a couple of those 3-hit games here for player of the week, I just went with Julio. Statistics wise, I cheated. I went with a statistical pick: 30 plate appearances, 10 hits, 6 runs, a triple, a homer, 4 RBIs, 15 total bases, 2 stolen bases, a 333 batting average, as well as a 333 on base percentage, 500 slugging. Those last 2 numbers together equal an 833 OPS. Bel's pick, obviously, to me, makes sense here. I mean, with the way Gino performed in those first 2 games against the Athletics, who was basically your offense. So I don't blame you at all for going for Gino, but was that sort of the direction you went with the way that he performed in those first 2 games against Oakland? What was the decision making behind that?
It was the 2 games against Oakland, and then looking at the statistics as well. So he had 21 plate appearances, 5 runs, 5 hits, 1 triple, 3 home runs, an 8 RBI, 16 total bases, 3 walks, a 238 average, a 333 on base percentage, a 762 slugging, and a 1.095 on base plus slugging. So that was my pick. And I like the good vibes that Gino brings, and when it's good to see him doing well on offense instead of being frustrated and throwing his helmet on the ground
or breaking his bat in half.
Breaking his bat. Yeah.
Yeah. The triple is a little funny to see there for Gino. Don't expect that from him too much, but no, I mean, at the end of the day, since that trade, again, when it was initially thought by many that Gino was a throw-in, he's been pretty, I think they showed it on the YouTube broadcast on Wednesday that he's got 3 defensive runs saved as compared to the last 3 years where he's been negative defensive runs saved. So he's a plus defender. He brings offensive value for this team at the third base spot. So I don't blame you whatsoever. Just would like to, as a whole, see this team offensively continue to put more runs on the board, just be better offensively. I think this team is actually in the bottom 10 in singles on the year, which is kind of bad. The extra base hits are great, but you got to be able to put guys on base regardless. No injury news, luckily. It was pretty good. And the only team news related note that we have was that on the 16th of the month, it was announced that we were going to get the official date for the MLB All-Star Game next year in Seattle. The All-Star Game in 2023 here in Seattle at T-Mobile Park will be played on July 11th. So if you're marking in the calendar, July 11th is next year's All-Star Game. Obviously, there are going to be other activities leading up to that. There's the celebrity softball game, the home run derby, the futures game. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on for All-Star Week and all the festivities. So that will be really fun when the league comes up here to Seattle for that Midsummer Classic. In some league-related notes, we've got some playoff stuff and some stuff going on in the division. On the 15th, the Rangers fired their head coach. They fired Chris Woodward months after major offseason spending, nearly $500 million on two players in Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. As the team continues to trend downwards at their current pace, the Rangers would have their fourth straight losing season. The MLB playoff schedule is set, so if things go well and Seattle ends in the number one playoff spot in the wild card, this is what we're looking at if you want to plan that, when you're going to buy tickets or you're going to have to call out sick for work. October 7th will be game one of each of the wild card series. There are 4 games taking place that day. October 8th is game 2, 4 games that day as well. And if necessary, depending on those 4 series, October 9th would be game 3 of those wildcard series. So that October 7th, 8th, and 9th, I'm assuming that's a weekend. I'm going to cheat and look ahead here. Yeah, that's a weekend, the first technical week of October. So that's a big series. I mean, I believe the last Mariners scheduled regular season game is the 4th. I think that's against Detroit. So you'd get like a day off maybe, but then the weekend ramps up. So it's we'll look towards that hopefully maybe midway through September and have a better understanding of where Seattle sits. On the 17th, things continued to be poor for Texas as they fired their president. The Rangers announced that they have relieved John Daniels of his duties as president of baseball operations, and general manager Chris Young will be taking over. So sort of a gutting of the front office there for the Rangers after spending tons of money in the offseason, understanding that it was still kind of a rebuild, but not being happy with their results. So team record-wise and standings-wise, the Mariners sit at a 66-56 record at this point in time as they have the day off today. They start a 2-game series. It's a 2-game series against the Washington Nationals, who recently gutted their team, trading Juan Soto, Josh Bell to the Padres. The first game of that series on Tuesday here is a 7-10 start. These are obviously back in Seattle, so this homestand starts with this 2-game series. The 24th versus the Nationals is a 1-10 start on Wednesday. Then the Cleveland Guardians series is a 4-game set, which begins on the 25th with another 1-10 start. That's on Thursday. So 2 day games during the week, back to back. Yeah, a little odd. I believe that game is also on YouTube. So if you're looking for where that game is on Thursday, it's on YouTube. The 26th and 27th are 7-10 starts. This is the beginning of Ichiro weekend. There's giveaways all throughout Friday through Sunday. His jersey number, I believe the number 51 will be retired on Saturday. And then the 28th is a 1-10 start. And the Sunday game is a bobblehead giveaway. So I believe there are still tickets for Friday and Sunday, but Saturday is sold out. So if you wanted to be there Saturday, I'm sorry, unless you can find a reseller or a scalper, you're out of luck.
Good luck.
We have